Good evening everyone, welcome to the Katy T Jones Aviation Roundup. I am your host Katy T Jones. Joining me tonight is my dear friend and very special guest David Monaco, who is a former airline pilot and Cessna Grand Caravan instructor at Flightsafety International of Wichita, Kansas. Welcome to the show, David.
Great to be here, Katy. It's always good to see you and to share with your audience about aviation. Especially when I have not had to file a pilot incident report in over 2 days.
You're a bit of a comedian, David, just so you know I have to file a pilot incident report after just about every show we do here. Glad you're in such fine spirits for our show tonight.
Great to join you, Katy. It's a great time to be in aviation and to share with your audience here on primetime television.
As you know, David, we are all about topics in aviation today, and that brings me to ask you to join us tonight. So David, tell us, how is the quality of life working at Flight Safety?
Quite frankly, Katy, it is awful, and I don't mean to bring your audience down, but the belief that quality of life working at Flightsafety International is better than airlines is totally false.
Wow, David, tell us more.
At Flightsafety International there is an overemphasis on revenue, and because of this you tend to get heavy, hastily made schedules made only hours beforehand. 6-day work weeks are the norm with 57 hours per week. Graveyard shifts are common. Long days are the norm. I was told the target for instructor-client contact, a metric used for maximizing the revenue, is 113 hours per month, or 40 hours over Flight Safety's own definition of full-time work. When you tally what it takes in order to do that, you are looking at around 220 hours a month. They mean business there, and any idea that quality of life is good under such circumstances is really just bullshit.
Yeah, I recall when I was in airlines I worked that many hours a week for sure, but we didn't exactly claim to have any quality of life there either.
Over 50 hours a week is not good quality of life in anyone's mind, and when I complained about this to my program manager, he just said we are understaffed. Obviously any sweatshop job is always going to be understaffed. An instructor in these programs does not get many weekends free. You should expect months at a time with weekends filled up by Flight Safety. Maybe during training you'll get a few weekends free, and things will look okay for a while. But once you are qualified as an instructor, you will work almost all weekends all the time. If a hastily made schedule does not show a weekend on duty, then instructors are expected to stand by in case a program manager calls, and you bet they will. There is no employee union or group defending proper work rules for instructors at Flight Safety. You will be called in on Saturday and sometimes even have to follow a 6-day week with a 4 a.m. show on Monday. Talk about miserable. Your audience really needs to be aware of this before they sign that 2-year non-pro-rated training contract they have there for $14,000. One other thing your audience should know about this job is that because of the 6-day weeks and having to work on weekends, some of your fellow instructors will lie about religious affiliation in order to get the weekend off. Just be aware this is going on at Flight Safety and is caused by Flight Safety failing to respect the need for decent quality of life.
I do not really blame them for wanting a weekend off, but it is disturbing that the environment there promotes lying about such things.
At my interview I was told the average Flight Safety International instructor has a tenure of around 9 years, but that was untrue in Caravan or King Air, which is more like 2 years.
Damn it, David, that is not a very long time for a career destination job. It makes me think the job is not very pleasant. I want our audience to know what they are to expect at their next job and where the bad apples are in the aviation employment world.
If you enjoy aviation, then my advice is to keep looking for a job with genuine quality of life. Flight Safety International needs to make some changes to a more ethical, compassionate, quality workplace. They should stop suing those instructors who quit early and figure out exactly why they quit in the first place. People don't just quit good jobs like that. In addition, they should place ethics ahead of revenue and try to be good corporate citizens who do right by the pilot community. They need to drop the threat of litigation as a way of keeping people on staff who don't need litigation to keep them when you offer decent quality of life.
Cool beans, Mr. David Monaco. Thanks for having the balls to give us an unbiased report so the pilot community can steer clear of Flight Safety International until they get their act together. We are grateful you could join us tonight.
Damn tooting, Katy, it's always my pleasure.
Stick around, David, while I introduce our next guest. Our next guest is a giant in the aviation world for that incredible dead stick landing on the Hudson River, a man who uses his fame to argue for improvements to quality of life of airline pilots as well as the aviation community. Everyone please give a warm welcome to Chesley V. Sully Sullenberger III.